Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and I congratulate my honourable friend, the member for West Dorset, on bringing this bill. I think it's a good bill. I have to say it's also nice, given we get so many emails on so many campaigns every week and month, it's nice to be saying, yes, I agree, for once, as opposed to the usual, no, I don't. About 15 years ago, I was involved in a project looking at charitable giving, comparing what goes on in the UK with charitable giving in other countries. And if, for example, you compared the UK and the US, there were some notable differences. So people in the US tended to give more money to charity than people in the UK. And when you talk to the wealthy about why that was, there was a feeling here that they paid high taxes and it was government's job to sort out the various issues that charities were focusing on with, with that tax money. In the US, they were much more likely to give money to local causes, a feeling that charity began at home, but in the UK, be much more likely to give it to international organisations. But one of the biggest differences between charitable giving in the UK and almost every other country was the amount that is given to animal charities. It's always one of the highest proportions of charitable giving, and that's been consistent. The project I refer to was about 15 years ago, always been consistent that the giving to charities supporting animals is very high, often at the top, along with health charities, but usually in the top two. And that's something important about the UK's relationship to animals. I think it's fair to say that some people in the country love animals as much as people. And I think we probably all know individuals who love animals more than they love people. And I think it's right that we're bringing in this legislation we are today. Animals run through a lot of aspects of life in my constituency of Wantage and Didcot, of pets, of course, as pets. And depending on how nice your pet is, might depend on how often you see me. I really like our friends Juliet and Jeremy, but I really love their dog, Mabel. They run through businesses too. So we have a small brewery in our constituency called Love Beer Brewery, where all the beers are named after dogs, their own dogs and the dogs of other people that they know. So you can buy beers like Purdy Peculiar and Dr. Roo. They run through farms because they're a rural constituency with a lot of farms, and you can't drive very far in the constituency without seeing animals on farms. And of course, they are a factor in crime as well. And like many rural constituencies, we have an issue of hare coursing, which is actually covered by different legislation. But I think it's fair to say that our maximum sentences for animal cruelty have been out of kilter both with how the country feels about animals, but also out of kilter with the maximum sentences for other countries as well. I think it's right we're going from having one of the lowest maximum sentences to having one of the highest in the world. It's also right that we remedy some of the inconsistencies about a dog harming another service dog incurring a higher sentence than a human being harming a dog. And in preparing to speak in this bill, as I usually do, I spoke to some of the organisations that would have good expertise of these issues. Charney Romanian Rescue Dogs in Farringdon completely supported this bill. The Oxfordshire Animal Sanctuary, which is not in my constituency but has a presence in my constituency, also completely supported this bill. And another organisation that did is the Island Farm Donkey Sanctuary. Now, this is one of the leading donkey sanctuaries in the UK and probably in Europe. Indeed, it has over 120 donkeys from all across Europe. And they do a great job. But periodically, they receive a donkey whose limbs have been slashed with a knife. They had a donkey called Midge, whose four front teeth had been knocked out because Midge had been hit in the face with either a hammer or a piece of wood, they're unsure, but had been hit full in the face and it had knocked those teeth out. So they do a great job, and they can repair donkeys physically in a matter of months. But the mental damage of this takes a good deal longer. And they have donkeys who've been there for years and years, who now are still nervous when humans are approaching them. I agree with all the comments that have been made about it being a mark of a civilized society to treat animals well, to punish those who don't treat animals well. And I think it's very clear why the charitable giving for animal charities is as high as it is. And for the tales of those donkeys and for all the other tales that we've heard of animal abuse in the house today, I strongly support this stop.